What is up, humans of the cardboard? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've actually got a really cool reveal for today. It is Peon, the Sylvan Dancer. That's right, it is a Sylvan Link 2 monster. This is really hype. Funny enough, I just made a video saying the top 10 archetypes that need support in 2022. Sylvans was on there. So, new Sylvan Link monster, we'll go over that in just a sec, and then we also have another random card. I don't think this card's too great, but like, we'll cover it just cause right at the end of the video. But anyway, let's get into this. We've got Peon, the Sylvan Dancer. Her design is pretty cool. She's kind of like a, she kind of has like that kimono dancer look, classic, you know. I don't even know the right terminology for it, but I love the artwork, and she's holding grapes. Okay. Cool. Anyway, this is a wind plant link effect monster, 1200 attack, link 2, and it points down. Pretty cool. Here we go. Takes 2 plant monsters, so it is plant locked. It's not completely generic, but still that's pretty generic. 2 hard ones per turn effects. The first effect reads, if this card is link summoned, you can excavate up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Ooh, excuse me. You can special summon up to 2 excavated plant monsters, but they cannot be used as link material. Also, send the rest to the graveyard. Second effect, you can target 1 plant monster in your graveyard that has a level, and the levels of all face-up monsters this card points to become that monsters until the end of this turn. So, all things considered, pretty good, I think, right? Now, I would say the only downside of this is obviously they're keeping it going with that excavation mechanic that Sylvans are very well known for. Pretty much, you know, making a thing, really, with Sylvans, at least popularized in, like, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! But, yeah, so the biggest downside to me is that you're going to excavate 3, and if you don't hit 2 plants, you don't summon 2 plants. The good thing is if you hit 1, you can still summon 1, but you would still need another extension to still be able to go anywhere from that point. I think the biggest downside of the card is not even the excavation part, but I think it's the part that the plants can't even be used as link material, unfortunately. That would have been so nice because it would have meant that like this card, if you just hit 2 plants, could like immediately go into like a Bengal Answer. It would be a lot more splashable in something like Sun Avalon, but I still think this could be maybe like a Rika card, right? Because if you can just find a way to put 2 plants on the field, they can target a monster in grave to modulate their levels, and then you can either make a Strenna level 4 if you put a 4 in grave or something else. Also, there's also just a good amount of plants that are good in grave anyway. So if you excavate 3, let's say, and you hit all 3 plants, but one of them is a Spore or a World Carrot Weight Champion, or even something like the Rika Petal, right? Which like maybe you've already used her effect on field, or I don't know. I guess it really depends. You could, but if you send her to grave, she's coming back on the next on your opponent's next end phase, which is really cool. And yeah, so there's really, I think this card's pretty good. I think the downside is obviously the link material thing, keeping anything from being linked off, but, or at least just the monsters that it summons. But the good thing is, it does facilitate some pretty cool Exceed plays, especially with that second effect at the bottom. You just summon 2 monsters to its zone, you modulate their levels to something that you already used to link into this. Maybe there's a combo that you go through this, and from there you can make a certain Exceed, because there's no effect here that locks you into plants, so you can even still go into just like a generic good, you know, synchro potentially, or Exceed, which is cool. And yeah, I guess there's definitely some cool utility there. I think this is definitely something to look at. I don't know, I mean, so the problem for me, I think, ends up being Sylvan is the best plant archetype right now. Rika is another good splashable engine, so I guess it works better with Rika. But I think so like Sylvans can make this the easiest, but once you use this to like extend, you're kind of sitting there going like, okay, now we can't do what Sylvans want, or now we can't do what Sun Avalons want to do, which is link climb like crazy. There, unless you had like outside extension. So definitely interesting. I'd be curious to see where we go from here. with this card. Maybe you have to diverge if you really want to push this card into a less Sun Avalon centric strategy, or maybe there's still plenty of good ways. I know like the basic 1-card combo for Sun Avalons can actually goes through like two, gosh, what is it called? The Aromatherapy Jasmine. So maybe one of those you just make this and then maybe use this as an extension instead. I don't know. It's something interesting to look at. I'd be curious to see what people can come up with, and can't wait to see, because I do think it is a good card overall. All right, next up here we have this card, Light Law Medium. The artwork's pretty cool on it. I do like the design. She looks cool. Yeah, she is a level 2 light fairy effect monster, 400 attack, 300 defense with 2 hard once per turn effects. The first one reads, once per turn at the start of your opponent's battle phase, you can target any number of attack position monsters your opponent controls. This turn, while this card is in your monster zone, while this card is in your main monster zone, those monsters must attack this card if able. Okay. And the second effect, once per turn, when an attack is declared in a battle between this card and an attack position monster your opponent controls, you can negate that attack, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half that monster's original attack. So, whatever. I mean, you're trying to force your opponent to attack this so that you can burn them for some damage and negate the attack anyway. And if they have a second monster, then the second monster just clears over this, because this is a once per turn effect. They're not hard once per turn, by the way. I think I might have said they are hard once per turn. They're soft once per turn. So technically you have 2 of this card. It could be a little annoying, but you literally just need any removal and then you get in for direct damage. So not really a huge deal here. This card's whatever. I saw this got revealed and I gave it a quick read and I was like, I am not making a video for that. But once we got this card revealed, it's like, this is interesting enough to review. So we'll just throw this one at the end of that. But yeah. Really cool. I like this card. Really, I do want to mess around with it because I do like plants. I do think they're cool. I think they're better than people give them credit for. So I'd be curious to see where this card can really find a home. So let me know your thoughts down below on that. Where do you think this card can be played and should be played? Into what decks and whatnot. But I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet and you want to see more stuff like this, card reviews when they drop, as they drop. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.